not complete strangers.
Sorry.
For those of you who have not had the chance to meet me yet. But I do want to thank Benny for hosting this call because for those of you who obviously have the opportunity to work with her, you guys already know what an incredible leader she is. And the thing that I love most about Benny since I've met her is the fact that she has such a big, generous heart. She truly cares about each and every one of you and wants to help you rise to whatever ranks that you want to go inside of your Trinant business. She is committed to helping as many people reach their goals as far or as little they want to go. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to host basically just a launch training for you. And what's great about the training today is this is not just a training that is meant for you if you're brand spanking new and getting started, but this is also a training for you, even if you've been seasoned with us for a couple of months or, maybe your first month in business. Wherever you're at in your Trinant journey, I want you to know that the actions and the activities that we're going to talk about today are relevant to you, whether you're brand new or you've been in the business. And what I love about the things that we're going to share is if you understand this very simple system that I'm going to talk to you about today, if you get into what I call rinse and repeat with this process, you can literally build to the top ranks inside of Trinant. Okay. And I just want you to know that 7 years ago, when I got started with Trinant, the system that we used 7 years ago really has been the same system that we're using today with one variation. Okay. And how many of you would like to know what that one variation is? Anybody want to take a guess what the one variation might be? In fact, go ahead. If you want to take a guess, drop it in the comments. If you're on Zoom or if you're on Facebook Live, drop it in the comments what you think that one variation is. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute. So here's my quick story. Back in 2016, it was February of 2016 when I got introduced to Trinant. At that time in 2016, I had just relocated and moved my entire life. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois, and I had just relocated my entire life to basically California, Fresno, California, to be specific. And so I was in a little bit of a culture shock. And I had also just relocated and started working remotely with my IT job. So at that time in February of 2016, I was not really in a position where putting a business on my plate made sense, right? I was really trying to get myself just repositioned in California, get myself set up with my remote work. And I had also just gotten engaged to my now husband. So I had a lot of things going on. But at the same time in February of 2016, I was in debt up to my eyeballs. I had basically $116,000 worth of debt. And so I also was looking for ways to create additional income outside of my full-time job so that I can start paying that debt down pretty quickly. And that is when Trinant kind of fell into my lap. It was actually one of my husband's best friends who called him and said, hey, I have a couple questions for you. He goes, he literally asked my husband, he said, hey, do you know the exact day and time in your planner of when you're going to retire? And do you know exactly how much money you're going to have coming in when you do retire? And my husband or fiance at the time couldn't answer that question. And he said, what if I could show you how to build a tax-free retirement? And what if I could show you how to build a significant one? Would you be open? And my husband's like, yeah, I'd be open. And me, being the skeptical person that I am, was kind of like, what are we talking about here? Right. And it was Pete. So I said to Pete, I'm like, Pete, I love you, but I need to know what you're talking about because I've worked in the finance world. I don't know about all this. This sounds a little like Shady 101, right? Long story short, I had the opportunity because of my husband's career and success in the industry. I had the opportunity to fly out to corporate headquarters and meet our three incredible owners, Mr. Russ Losey, Mr. Lauren Berry, and Mr. Scott Bland. And I will tell you that meeting completely blew my mind. And the reason it blew my mind is because I had learned of the success that these three gentlemen had in their life. And more importantly, I really understood the mission and vision they had for truly impacting 1 billion lives for good over the next 30 years in business. And I want you to know something, like these three gentlemen have had a lot of success outside of just what they're doing now, to the point where I remember my husband asked him, he said, if you've had this much success, why are you actually building a network marketing company? Like, why are you doing this? And I remember like yesterday, Mr. Losi had said, he says, there comes a point in time in your life, John, where your family's taken care of, but you start to ask yourself the question, what would you do to better your city, your state, and your country? He goes, and let me ask you a simple question. When's the last time you ever took a course on financial literacy and education? And we just kind of sat back and looked at him and we're like, never, outside of the stuff I did for working at the bank, I had never taken any financial literacy courses. And he said, it's always been their mission to truly give back and to really teach people the foundational principles, which are the two big pillars of our company, health and finances. It just so happened to be that in 2016, we were not yet launched into the health space. So long story short, 2 months of working with Trinant's business, I was able to replace my income from my full-time job. And I was truly working my business on a part-time basis because I was working my full-time job anywhere from 40 to 60 hours a week. So when I say I was building a business in the cracks of my schedule, I was truly building a business in the cracks of my schedule. Okay. And I wanted to make sure that the money was real, because how many of you, if you've ever been in our industry before, maybe you've gotten to a rank, right? And you maybe get that good paycheck, but you're like, ooh, is the money real? Is it really truly residual? If there's anybody on here who has ever experienced that, please go ahead and share your testimony in the comments. But that's where I was. I had never had this type of success in a business. And so I was a little nervous, but the money was real. And I finally decided in May of 2016 that I was going to walk away from my corporate job. And it's been an absolute blessing ever since. I have been a full-time entrepreneur since May of 2016, and I will never look back. And all of the financial education that Trinant has taught me and my husband, we have taken on and done everything they taught us to do. And because of it, we now have a financial portfolio that most people only dream about. And I don't share any of this to impress you at all, but to impress upon you that what we're doing here truly makes an impact in people's lives. And it's just a matter of you kind of sitting back and asking yourself the question, what is my piece in this? What do I want to get for myself and my family out of the opportunity of Trinant? Okay. And as you ask yourself that question, as we go through today's training, you'll see just how simple it is to actually build a business here with our incredible comp plan. So now, as I go back to the question that I had asked, is what is the one variation? Most of you actually did get this right. Benny said social media. Stephanie said technology. Trent said Trinant Go. Michelle said social media. Actually, every single one of you are right. When we had 2020 happen, right, we were mostly building our business. I would say 99% of our business prior to 2020 was built belly to belly. We did a lot of home meetings. We did a lot of monthly events in local communities. And when I say local communities, what I mean is that John and I, for many years, were literally traveling from city to city to city building Trinant. What do I mean by that? We were building in California. We were building in Montana. We were building in Illinois. We were building in Utah. And so literally John and I were on the road for like 3 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks out of a month. And we did that for a long time. Now, many of you might be like, wow, that's a lot of traveling. Yes, it was a lot of traveling, and we didn't have kids at the time, so we could do it. But what I love is that 2020, even though we can look at it in a negative way or a positive way, here's the positive thing that came out of 2020, is it just made the whole economy shift. And so with that, our business also pivoted. And that's when we actually started having people really start building their business on social media. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to ask you a simple question. Would you rather want to travel 3 weeks out of a month and go from city to city to city to city to city and build your business? Or would you rather be able to stay in the comfort of your home, work on your own time, and be able to build a business with free social media platforms? Anybody want to answer that? I think I know the answer. It's kind of rhetorical, right? It'd be awesome to stay in the comfort of your own home. And that's what I love about the shift that happened in 2020. So what I'm going to do first and foremost is I'm going to pull up a slide deck, because I want to go through that slide deck as we launch your business today. And if you have a paper and pen handy, if you don't have it handy, I would grab that so that you can take notes during today's training. And then this will be on replay. I believe, Benny, you're going to leave this up as replay in your group. Is that correct?
Yes, and recording.
It's on the website. Awesome. Thank you, Benny. Okay, so when launching your business, here's what I want you guys to first and foremost understand. The first person you need to recruit in your business is you. Okay, here's what I mean by that. You probably have heard the phrase before, if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not strong enough. Have you guys ever heard that before? Okay, here's what I mean when I say the first person you need to recruit is you. Is in order for you to paint vision or to cast vision to other people about what it is that you're doing, you have to have the confidence in yourself that what you're doing is really powerful. And so at the end of the day, you have to get very crystal clear on what it is that you want to create out of the opportunity of Trinant. And I will tell you that your goals are going to be very different than anybody else that's on this line. Okay. They're going to be very different because all of us have different things that we want to accomplish in life. So as you are writing down what you're passionate about, here's the one question that you can answer in detail is ask yourself first and foremost, why am I doing Trinant? Okay. And it's more than just saying, hey, I want to make money at this. Okay. I want you to go a little bit deeper. I want you to actually say, okay, well, if it's yes, you want to make money, ask yourself the question next, why do I want to create this additional income? What is it going to provide in your life? Is it going to free up more time so you can spend it with your family? Is it going to allow you to pay off debt faster because maybe you have debt? Is it going to allow you to start preparing for retirement because maybe you didn't have the money to start putting aside for your retirement? Is it going to allow you to change zip codes because maybe you don't want to live in the certain area that you're living? What are the reasons that you want to create that additional income? Okay. And then you can take it a step further. Once you kind of identify, okay, this is really why I'm building a business. Then I want you to take it the step further and say, okay, well, how much income do I actually need to be bringing in on a monthly basis in order to accomplish those goals, right? And again, that dollar amount is different for everybody. For some individuals, it's an extra $200 a month. For some individuals, it's an extra $600 a month. For some individuals, it's an extra $5,000 a month. Fully define what that numerical value is for you, okay? And again, whether it's getting your products and services paid for, or it's building a full-time business where you can actually have a 6-figure income or a 7-figure income, I just want you to be very crystal clear on what that goal is for you. And if you want to, feel free in the chat window. If you want to share it in the chat window, go ahead. I'm going to try to read through the chat if there's any questions and whatnot that come through. All right. So Benny said, and actually I appreciate you, Benny, you wrote this. You said you want to retire, Trent, and have an abundant life for your kids. And it's going diamond and sapphire for Trent and I to have the life of our dreams. So perfect. Benny has it crystal clear. For her, it's diamond and sapphire. Okay. I love that, Benny. Thank you for sharing that. Gretchen, what part of Chicago? I'm in the northwest suburbs. Gretchen, I grew up in Harwood Heights. And then I also lived really rural in Braidwood, if you've ever heard of a town called Braidwood, which was near Kankakee. And then I also actually went to college in Schaumburg. So you grew up in Libertyville. I love that. Okay. All right. So now, once you identify what those goals are, remember that you have to adopt what I call the business mindset. Here's what I mean by the business mindset. If you were prior to getting started in Trinant, if you were just a customer and maybe trying some products, if you've upgraded to an associate, okay, you have to remember you are not just a customer of the products anymore. You are now a business owner. And when you own a business, your mind is a little bit different. It has to shift from maybe what I call the employee mindset. Okay, here's what I mean by the employee mindset. When you work a job, what do we do at a job? We trade time for money, right? So if you go to work for 40 hours a week, you get paid for 40 hours a week. When you start a business, you are no longer an employee anymore. As a business owner, you don't get paid for time spent. You get paid for results. Meaning, even if you spent 40 hours in your business, okay, and you didn't create a new customer or you didn't sign up a new associate on a enrollment bundle and get their business going, you didn't create a paycheck if you didn't have an actual income producing activity that produced a result. So The one thing that I think is the hardest for anybody who's coming from working a W-2 job to starting a business is that shift in mindset that has to happen. Now, the beautiful thing, though, when you finally understand that and start to adopt that mentality, then it's about actually focusing when you're building your business in whatever time frame you are allotting for the week. It's about making sure that every activity you are doing in your business is actually an income producing activity. Okay. And all the other stuff that is non-income producing activities should be put to the wayside. So let me give you an example. In fact, I want to ask any one of you that are on the line, what do you think would be a non-income producing activity in your business? Go ahead and drop it in the comments as just an example. Okay. And while you're dropping that in the comments, I'm going to go ahead and explain to you. Here's the traditional business strategy. Every one of you has seen this in your life because every one of you have probably walked into a grocery store and bought groceries. So how does it work in a grocery store? Well, in that grocery store, the business owner needs to fill their shelves with product. And then you as the customer come in, you see whatever groceries you need, and then you purchase those groceries. And in turn, the business owner is getting a profit off of whatever products they had in their store plus an upcharge, right? This is the cycle that grows a traditional business, whether it's a grocery store, whether it's a beauty supply store, whether it's a clothing store. That is the traditional cycle of business. But how many of you would agree that the traditional business model also has a lot of upfront costs? What do I mean by that? The grocery store has overhead and expenses, right? The grocery store has a brick and mortar location that they have to pay for or lease that space. They have the electricity that they have to pay for to keep the lights on. They have merchant processing systems that they have to pay for to accept credit card payments, right? Are you guys starting to see cha-ching, 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 the bills and expenses that come from a traditional business? Okay. Here's why I love our industry of network marketing, because in the industry of network marketing, specifically your Trinant business strategy, guess what? Yes, there's going to be a small upfront cost to starting your business, but the return on it can be still millions of dollars that you can create in your business for a very low startup cost. And that's what I love. And on top of it, you don't have to handle shipping and handling. You don't have to handle having a brick and mortar location. All you have to get really good at doing is marketing your business, acquiring customers, building out a team of distribution, right? And that's the cycle that grows your business. So Trinant's business strategy is no different than the traditional business strategy. You're going to supply yourself up with some impact products so you can go demo and share those products and market it to the individuals that you're speaking with. And those individuals are either going to like it or they're going to love it. And they're going to either become a customer or an associate. Do you see the difference? There's not a big difference other than low startup cost. Now, Benny said scrolling social media is a non-income producing activity. Yes, absolutely. What's another non-income producing activity? Going into your back office and looking at the people who signed up, or scrolling through your back office and looking at the volume that's there. Is it necessary to do that at times? Absolutely. But if you're spending all of your time in your back office just looking at what's going on, that's not going to produce you income. Okay, so now what are income producing activities that actually produce income? Well, creating a post on your social media, right? That is a way to start attracting individuals into your to speaking with you so that you can convert them either to a customer or get them introduced to our business opportunity. Another income producing activity is hosting your first grand opening, which we're going to talk about today. Okay. And by doing that, what are you doing? You're actually hosting and sharing your opportunity with other people. Those are examples of income producing activities. Having a conversation with a local neighbor or maybe a friend of yours and talking about and showing them a demo of maybe our Enrich Life digestive enzyme and showing them how that works. Okay, that's an example of an income producing activity because it can produce a result of a customer. All right, Benny says we can do Q&A at the end. Yes, I love it. All right, this is your success system. We share it for like it's and love it's. That's it. You're sharing information. People either like it and become a customer or they love it and become an associate. Okay, do not get wrapped up into all the minutia. This is how simple your success system should be. And this is the simple system you want to start teaching your team as you start growing your business. Now, what I love is that when we brought our business online back in 2020, we also created a very simple 3-step process to get everybody going right off of the bat. Now, some of you may have already started doing this for yourself. And for those of you who haven't yet done this, after today's webinar, you can actually go start this process for yourself. And what I want you to do is you will be able to go to our team website, which is legacybuilderssystem.com. That's Legacy Builders with an S, system.com. You're going to click on the launch tab. And once you click on launch, you're going to see this first screen that's going to pop up. And it's going to say step 1, subscribe to our 60-day attraction marketing system. Okay, so over your first 60 days or the next 60 days, if you haven't done this and you've been seasoned for a bit, we are just going to give you access to 60 days of what we call social media content that will allow you to start building your attraction marketing system online. Okay, now whether you are really good at social media or whether you have never posted a thing in your entire life on social media, what I love about this system is, again, it works for anybody, whether you're seasoned or you're new, because we understand that some people who start with us have never actually utilized social media. And so for your first 60 days, we want to make it very simple and give you access to a system that allows you to actually start warming up your social media and allowing people to actually take a look at that content and say, I'm interested in learning more. Okay, so if you haven't subscribed, get subscribed today. And the first video that you're going to get when you actually subscribe is you'll see there's a quick, like 1 minute, I think it's like 1 minute and 30-second welcome video that actually talks to you about what an attraction marketing system is. The second tool that you're going to get access to is this launch system guide that you see has a little rocket ship on it. And what I want you to know is that little guide is your all-encompassing resource guide. Inside of it it's literally like if you read it from cover to the back cover, it has all the information that teaches you how to actually start using daily activities in growing your business through income producing activities. So that resource guide is just an extra guide on top of the attraction marketing system. All right. Now, inside of that attraction marketing system, you're going to see that there's a get started checklist. Now, I'm not going to go through every step on this because, again, when you open up that resource guide, you're going to see the checklist. And what I encourage each and every one of you to do is you're literally going to start checking off the boxes. You want to make sure that you yourself have actually done all of the necessary things to get your business off the ground. Now, the next piece of that is step number 2 of actually growing your business. And this is scheduling what we call your grand opening. And I love to use the example. My example when I talk about this all the time is if you were the brand new business owner of a taco restaurant. And I love to say a taco restaurant because who doesn't love tacos? In fact, maybe there are people out there that don't love tacos, but I haven't met one person yet that doesn't love tacos. So I love to use this analogy of tacos. Okay, if you are a brand new restaurant owner in your local community and you start up this taco restaurant and you host what we call a grand opening, right? Have you guys ever been to a soft opening or a business opening? Have any of you guys ever gone to a local business who just opened their doors? Okay, if you haven't, most businesses actually have a grand opening when they first open their doors. Okay, and who do they invite when they have that grand opening? Are they picky? Let me ask this another way. Are they picky about who they invite to their grand opening? No, right? That business owner is actually probably going to even put an ad maybe in the newspaper letting people know, or in their local, community magazine. If there's a community magazine, they're going to put an ad in there that says like, hey, come visit XYZ taco shop and come try some tacos. Okay. Because at the end of the day, that business owner, all they want to do is tell the world that they've opened up shop for business. Okay. And here's what I want you to actually think. Okay. So somebody wrote my spin gym. Oh, was this you, Benny? Yeah. You opened a spin gym. You did soft launch. You did a grand opening. You did a 3-month. Love it. That's a perfect example, Benny. Okay. I didn't realize, by the way, that you had a spin gym. That's awesome. Okay. So when you do this, though, when you're scheduling your grand opening for Trinant, here's the one thing I want you to write down when we get into the next topic here in just a second. Never prejudge. Write that down. Never prejudge. Here's why I say this. Because when I have a conversation with individuals and I tell them, hey, we're going to schedule a grand opening for your business, and we start talking about who they're going to invite, naturally I have people who are like, oh, I can't talk to my friend. My friend, she just would not be open to this. And the reason I say never prejudge is because here's what I have found in my 10 plus years of being in this industry. The people that you think won't join you in this end up typically being the people that end up joining you. And the people that you think will do this end up typically being the people that don't end up doing this. Okay. And so never prejudge, because you have no idea who might be on their knees at night praying for an opportunity. And when you're scheduling your grand opening, all you're doing is opening up to your friends, your family, your local community, and letting them know that, hey, I'm in business. Come check out what it is that I'm doing. And you're not tied to the result of, hey, become a customer, become an associate. It's about helping them understand that you're open for business. Because if they now have somebody in their contact list that maybe needs help with their gut, or maybe needs more energy in their life, if they know that you have a business, who can they refer to? Do you get what I'm saying, right? So when you schedule your grand opening, your goal is you want to actually host typically 1 to 3 grand openings within your first 30 days in business. And ideally, your first grand opening, you would like to have within your first 72 hours of getting started in business. Now, granted, if you've been with us for a few months and you're like, shoot, I did not have my grand opening in my first 72 hours, don't stress. It's okay. That means in the next 72 hours, what do you want to quickly get scheduled and host? Your first grand opening. And the best part about that is when you schedule this grand opening, you personally are not going to be the individual that is sharing the information. You're going to get yourself out of the way. All you're going to focus on in your grand opening is inviting people to that grand opening. And you're going to have your incredible leader like Mrs. Benny Martin or any other incredible leader. She'll help you. Mrs. Benny Martin's going to help you obviously figure out who's going to do that meeting, whether it's her or another leader. Your mission with that grand opening is you're getting yourself out of the way and you're just simply inviting. The host who's going to come on and be the speaker is actually going to share the information of what Tronaut's all about. Okay, so this is how simple the process is. You're going to connect with individuals, both online and offline. Okay, that's through social media versus non-social media, to invite them to take a look at what it is that you're doing, and then you earn on the back end. Very, very simple. Now, how do you actually first start inviting individuals to come take a look at what it is that you're doing? Well, you got to make a list. You have to make a contact list. And what I love about when I talk about contact list is because when I share this all the time, some people are like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I have 30 contacts in my phone. I don't know if I have 30 people to talk to. Okay. And so here's the example I always give when you're making this contact list. Number 1, never prejudge. And number 2, when people tell me I don't have people to talk to, I literally ask them, I say, and I want you guys to all do this exercise real quick right now. Grab your phone. If you're on Facebook, you probably can't do this right now because you're on Facebook. But if you're on Zoom, grab your phone. Go to your contact list and just open up your contact list. And I think on iPhone, you have to scroll all the way to the bottom. Android's a little bit different, but I want you to just type in how many contacts are in your phone. Okay. I know everybody's contact list is going to be different, but when we do this exercise, it's very funny because I hear all the time, I don't have people to talk to. And then I end up finding out that individuals have at minimum hundreds of people in their contact list. In fact, I just did the exercise right now and I have 2,141 contacts in my phone. Now, are all of those contacts probably a human being? No, some of them might be businesses, but you get my point. I truly believe that every single one of you have 3 diamonds in your phone. Okay. I believe that. I truly believe that because in the history of doing this, I have found that when individuals actually go through their contact list and fully go through it, they end up finding 3 runners for their business. And here's what I want you to know, that you only need 3 individuals running in their business to actually make a 6, 7, or 8-figure income in our Tronaut opportunity. So as you start to make this list, all I want you to do is get the names out of your phone and on paper. Now, the best part about this is you don't just have a contact list in your phone. How many of you also have a social media account, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook? Most people typically use Facebook. So we'll just use Facebook as the example. Again, what I want you to do is go onto your Facebook, and I want you to actually, we're just going to get names out of that Facebook list. Now, the best part about this is you can actually get really crafty when you make a list. And you can get really crafty by actually also the people that you have relationships with as you're writing out this list, you have a relationship with them, which means you have conversations that you've had with them in the past. And I guarantee there are some people that you've talked about that maybe you guys have either talked about maybe making more income at some point in their life. Maybe you've talked to people who have told you about certain health conditions that they're dealing with. And so what I love when you start making this list, if somebody comes up on your list and you're like, oh yeah, we talked about this person telling me how they work over 40 hours a week and she's overworked and underpaid. Great. What are you going to write down next to her name? Write down your conversation so that when you go to invite her to take a look at what it is that you're doing, you can actually make a personalized invitation based on the conversations you've had in the past. Okay. And we're going to actually talk about what does that look like here right now. Now, just on this slide, by the way, you don't need to screenshot any of this because all of this stuff that's in this slide deck is in that resource guide that you guys are getting access to. So you don't even have to screenshot any of this. This specific slide is just simply here as what we call a memory jogger. As you're making out your list of at minimum 30 contacts, these are different people in different communities in your life that will kind of jog your memory for how you met them or, just where they are in your local community. Okay, so you can use that as a memory jogger. Now, the next piece is how do you go and actually invite somebody to your grand opening? Now, there are multiple ways to invite individuals, and you have probably, if you've been on multiple trainings with different leaders, you have probably heard different types of what people like to call scripts, right? To invite somebody to a grand opening. And all I want to share with you today is that the most important piece of any invitation is not necessarily being a scripted individual. Okay, we give you these scripts as ways to have conversations, but the most important piece of any invitation is you sharing your relationship with the person that you're inviting. And here's what I mean by that. Any individual that you have a relationship with when you're inviting to a grand opening, you want to share with them the value that they're going to receive out of that grand opening. Okay, so here's an example of what I mean by that. Let's say that Benny is one of my closest family members, and I've known her for, since I've been born. Let's say she's one of my cousins. Okay, and let's say that Benny and I have had conversations in the past of how she's been dealing with having low energy, and, she's got her kids that she takes care of, but she's got low energy and she's just lethargic all the time. Okay, so what I would do if I was inviting Benny is I'd say, hey, cousin, do you have a quick minute? Right? If I get on the phone with her, I'm gonna say, hey, cousin, do you have a quick minute? Benny's gonna say, what? Yeah, what's up? I'm gonna share with her, hey, I've really been thinking about you, and here's why, Benny. Do you remember how you've been telling me for years that you've been dealing with low energy? And she's gonna say, yeah, well, what's up? I'm gonna say, look, Benny, I have actually found a solution. And more importantly, I'm actually connected with individuals who are looking for amazing people like you who have been dealing with the same situation you've been dealing with. And more importantly, they've been helping these individuals eliminate their fatigue and have more energy in their life so they can live out a fully fulfilled life. Would it be worth 20 minutes of your time, Benny, if I could get you in contact with these individuals who have some incredible knowledge that I think is going to make a real difference in your life? Okay, now if you guys notice, by the way, I was just speaking from my heart. Okay, I was not actually reading off of what the script says, but if you notice, what I just shared with you is literally the same framework of what's written on the screen. Okay, the reason I say the most important piece of an invite is you sharing from your heart what is possible for that person to invite them to your grand opening and come take a look at what it is that you're doing. Okay, here's another way you can phrase this. Let's say I'm having a conversation with Rose, and Rose is somebody that has been in my local community. Let's say, I don't know, Rose as an example, let's say we go to church together. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. And let's say, Rose, that you and I have talked about how you have shared with me over the years that you are just frustrated with your job. You do it and you work at your job because you have to, you need the paycheck, but you're just frustrated with it. And every Sunday When we go to church, you're telling me all about how your boss has done this, X, Y, Z, whatever the case is, right? Okay, here's what I would share with you, Rose, if I'm inviting you to come take a look at what we're doing. I would say, hey, Rose, and by the way, let's say this conversation is now in person, right? I would say, hey, Rose, I really need to share something exciting with you. Do you remember how you've been telling me how you're just frustrated with your boss? And what is Rose going to say? She's probably going to go tell me another story of how she's been frustrated with her boss this week, right? I'm going to say, Rose, I have a solution for you. And I really, more importantly, Rose, I got connected with some incredible individuals who are looking for amazing people like you. And they have been showing individuals like you how you could actually make more money working from home, or how you can actually replace your income if you so choose to, and find another career path. I want to ask you a simple question though, Rose. Would it be worth 20 or 30 minutes of your time so I can introduce you to these individuals, or this individual who is going to help you and has already helped thousands of people along the way? Okay. Notice how I just shift, same invitation. I just shifted the conversation for who I'm talking to. Okay, guys, you might think that this framework or script, whatever you want to call this, you might say this sounds really cheesy, whatever thoughts, feelings, and emotions you have around this script. Here's what I want you to know. This is the same script I have been using for over 10 years that I've been doing network marketing. And this is the same script that my husband has used for over 20 years. And guess what? This is the same type of script that has allowed him to build over 250,000 distributors in an organization for the past 20 plus years. Okay, so when I say this works, it works. But what you have to get really good at doing is practicing this and actually crafting your message for the person that you're talking to. Okay, and here's what I mean by that. It's going to take practice. Is it going to be easy to just have this invitation flow out of your mouth the first time you do it? No, right? It took me years and years of practice, and eventually now it's just tattooed in my brain. Does that make sense? So what I encourage each and every one of you to do is, if you are struggling with inviting, get on the phone with one of your mentors, whether that's Mrs. Benny Martin, okay, whether that's Miss Jen Laurie, or any of your incredible leaders that you're working with. Get on the phone with them and actually just practice this. Or if you have a sideline sister or a sideline brother, get on the phone and you guys can actually practice that invitation just until you get used to actually how the conversation goes. All right, so as we move on, I am a person who likes to talk about processes and flowcharts, because I don't know about you, but I am personally a visual learner. How many of you guys are visual learners, where you actually can visualize what it is you have to do? So I made this little flow chart to just give you an example of the visual process, or what I call like the funnel that you are pushing people through. Okay. Step one. So everything that I just shared at the beginning of this webinar, this is literally the flow chart of what you're taking people through. Step one, if individuals say they're open to information, step one is you're going to share with them some more information. Now, most of the time, people are talking about our products first, right? So if you're sharing information about a product, here's what I encourage you to do. Before you just send out a product flyer to somebody, remember the phrase that facts tell, stories sell. Write that down. Facts tell, stories sell. So instead of just connecting them with information about the product, what I would encourage you to do first is share with them a testimonial of somebody who's had an impact on the product that it is that you're sharing with them. Okay, so let's say that, again, in Benny's case, she's lethargic, she needs more energy. So I'm going to talk to her about Mojo, right? But instead of me just sending her a product flyer, I'm going to say, Benny, I have some incredible information of people who are having incredible results with Mojo. Here's what I would love to do. I have a private Facebook community called Health, Wealth, and Community, and I would like to invite you to that community online so I can share with you a couple different testimonials of individuals who are having success. Would you be open to taking a look at that information? If Benny says, yes, I'm in, what am I going to do? I'm going to add her to the Facebook group. I'm going to tag her. I'm going to go find a couple Mojo testimonials, and I'm going to tag her in those couple Mojo testimonials. And then I'm going to follow up with her after about a 24-hour time frame and see what she has to say about those results that she shared. Now, here's what I want you guys to keep in mind. Some individuals don't have Facebook. Okay. And I know that because we do work with individuals who just don't do social media. So I don't want you to feel like this is a daunting task. If you have somebody who just genuinely doesn't use social media, okay, then that's okay. Anybody that does have a Facebook account, use the ATM method, get them into the group. But anybody who doesn't, here's how you can still share those testimonials. Go into the group, find a couple testimonials that relate, screenshot them, and text it to the person. Okay. So just don't feel like you can't do it if they don't have Facebook. Does that make sense? But if they do have Facebook, you want to use that ATM method. Now, why do you want to use the ATM method? Here's where it gets powerful. You never know what information beyond the testimonials that you tag that person in, you have no idea what other information is in that group that might trigger an excited response from them. So this is why I like to use ATM, because many times I have put people in the group and I tagged them in a message, but then when I follow up with them, they're like, you know what? I saw this video that was in the group and it was talking about how you could actually make money on a 10 and 3 bonus and blah, blah, blah. And they're telling me all these other things than what I tagged them in. And so that's why I say you always want to use that ATM, because you never know what's going to trigger something for them that's going to excite them. Now, step number 2, after you've shared the testimonial or gotten them into the group, step number 2 is if they say, I love Mojo, I'm excited about it. Here's my next phrase to them. I always present the business opportunity to everybody. Okay. Whether they still choose to become a customer, I still present the opportunity of the business, because I want them to know that if they want to make income with it, they can. And if they choose not to, okay, great. So step number 2 is I say, hey, Benny, I know you said you love the Mojo product. Here's what I want to share with you. There is an actual business opportunity attached to this where you could actually potentially get your product or service paid for. Would you be open, Benny, write this down. Would you be open to taking a look at some information on what the business?
Anybody else? I think Veronica's paused. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
can hear
yes.
Okay. I'm just going to message her. Isn't she amazing? I love her.
Oh, unreal.
She'll probably just come back in. While we're waiting for her to jump back in, anybody have a takeaway they want to share?
Just asking about the business all the time.
Yeah, right. And for those of you who are watching the comments, I commented that, she recommends 1 to 3 overviews. And I actually do that every 2 to 3 months, but I actually did 8 in my first month. I did 2 a week. Mind you, I had a goal to get to Ruby. So, I always tell people, if you have a goal, what's it going to take? So sometimes people look at me and they think, well, you have experience, but I really did do 8 launches in about 3 weeks.
Wow.
And then I started launching those people. And then I started launching those people's people. And then in March, we needed to, oh, there she is. And then we did our grand opening in March, 3 months later. Hi, Veronica. Sorry we lost you.
I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
That's okay.
Can you guys hear me okay, though? Am I coming in clear?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was all clear until you froze.
Until I froze. Okay, so real quick, catch me up. Where did I freeze?
Anybody remember? the exact
You were
word?
telling Benny about the opportunity to get into the business.
Okay, so I
Right.
was on step 2, the 10-minute overviews. Did you guys hear that I said that there's 2 10-minute overviews?
Yeah. No.
Okay, let me catch you
No.
up on that. So there are 2 10-minute video overviews. There is one that I created, which is on our team website, legacybuildersystem.com/experience. Or there is one in your Trinont Go app that is recorded by Mr. Craig Cotter. Again, whichever video you want to use is completely up to you. I always say gauge it based on the person you're talking to. As an example, maybe Trent might have another guy that he's talking to, and so that guy might relate better to Mr. Craig Cotter's video. Does that make sense? So he's going to share Mr. Craig Cotter's 10-minute video. You guys might have another female who might be inspired by who I am, and so great, you can share with them that 10-minute video. Again, it doesn't matter the information. The goal is you're getting them in front of the information. Okay. Now, after that, step number 3 is you've already shown them some information about the products. You've shown them some information about the business. Now,
We lost her again.
You just gotta love the way that they freeze, right?
Yeah. It's actually a pretty flattering freeze.
Yeah, that one is pretty good.
okay, it doesn't matter how fast they go through the information or how slow they go through the information. This is literally just the process. Stay plugged into our trainings, the more you're going to learn. And what I love about this is everybody has a different style of how they train, but you will find that the more you listen to different trainings, the more you realize that everything that every single leader is doing is the exact same thing that I just took you through. Remember, I said at the beginning of this, it's about rinsing and repeating. If you get really good at following this 3-step process with all of your new associates, you will create something called duplication in your team and start replicating momentum. Okay, but the most important critical piece of this whole process is step number 3 and getting people plugged in. And the reason that is because everybody learns at their own pace, right? And so some individuals, they might need to go through a couple more trainings before they're ready to fully go gung-ho in their business. And then other individuals like Benny Martin or like even Jen Laurie, when she got started, they come into the business and they're like right out the gates, they're going guns blazing and they're ready to rise to the top ranks. Okay, wherever anybody is at, the whole goal for us as leaders is to meet people where they're at and help them make it through this process at whatever pace that they're going. So how do you get plugged in? If you go to our team website and go down to step 3, all the boxes that are in step 3 that you see on this little screenshot, you can just click those boxes and it takes you through getting plugged into our team Facebook group. You can get plugged in to stay up to date on our events. And then you'll see step number 3 is registering for our next big global convention, which by the way, is coming up in September. By the way, how many of you guys are registered for TLA coming up in September? That is in our neck of the woods here in Las Vegas. So I'm excited to have you guys come on out to our hometown now. I guess you can call it our hometown now because I live in Las Vegas. And then step number 4 of, or I should say box number 4, where it says schedule your wealth appointment. Since you guys are in Canada, hint, hint, wink, wink, there's one thing I want you to do in Canada. Just don't click that 4th box because that's going to take you through the US version of scheduling your wealth appointment. Benny, let me just confirm with you. Do you have the calendar link for your Canadian rep for wealth appointments?
So you just go to the Trinont.com website and go to wealth services, and it takes you right to a Calendly app and you can schedule your wealth appointment. So I've had my first one and she gave me some homework and I need to schedule another one.
Perfect. Perfect. So if you could do it right straight from the website, that's even better. I didn't realize they updated that. So that's actually really awesome. Okay, so anybody US based though, you can actually click on that on the website and it'll take you through the US based calendar. All right, so as we quickly move on, the last thing I'm going to wrap up today is earning through the compensation plan. And I'm going to actually do my best to explain both US and Canada. And there's going to be some overlap with UK because UK and Canada's comp plan are very similar. US just has some slight variations. So the first thing that I want you to know is there are 7 different ways to earn. And we're going to actually blend all 7 of these together and show you the full-blown comp plan right now. So the first way that everybody gets paid inside the compensation plan is through customer sharing bonuses. These are paid on a weekly basis, and this is for any customer that you personally acquire. So the customer sharing bonus here in the US starts off by paying 25% off of the customer point value. If you are in Canada or you are in UK, you actually start at 50%. Okay, so I'm a little jealous because I'm not jealous because I'm at 50%, but you get my point. If I was brand new, I'd be jealous because I'd have to start out at 25%. Okay, but at the 25% or 50%, whatever you're at, it is off of the customer point value. So every single product and service has a different customer point value. So if you're trying to calculate this, you can actually pull up the product portfolio, which is in your Trinont Go app. For any product, you can look up the product, see what the CP value is, and then multiply that by 25 or 50%. And that's how you calculate what your commission is going to be. Now, for those of you in the US, if you're wondering how can you get to that 50% customer commissions, then in your first 30 days, you can either get to 1,000 customer points. So meaning you've acquired enough customers that you have 1,000 customer points, or accomplish the rank of Jade or any other position higher, and you automatically bump up and start earning 50% customer commissions. Now, the second way that you start earning in our compensation plan is through launch bonuses. So these are bonuses that are paid out for individuals that get started as an associate and actually start on one of our bundled packages, whether it be bronze, silver, gold, or platinum. In the US specifically, okay, these launch bonuses are $100 for the silver bundle, $200 for the gold bundle, $300 for the platinum bundle, and I believe our bronze bundles are $40 launch bonus. Now in Canada, you guys have your title for the bonus is called a Smart Start bonus. So think launch bonus is US, Smart Start bonus is for Canada, and your Smart Start bonus is literally just 50% off of whatever that bundle is going to be. And if I'm not mistaken, Benny, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you also get 50% Smart Start bonuses off of any products that are ordered within the first 30 days of somebody getting started. Is that correct?
It is correct. We are still debating whether it's the first 30 days or the first month. Trent, are you on? Do you know?
I can always go back and confirm it too. It'll be written in the full-blown comp plan.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that. I've asked about it, and I've heard one person say it's from the time of sign up till the end of that month, which could be potentially only like 5 days, or it's 30 days, but I don't know.
Okay. So Benny, if you can just do me a huge favor, just write that down as a follow-up, and then I'll go check in the full-blown comp plan and we'll get you guys a finalized answer. I believe it's in their first month, but I will triple check it. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, good. So now you guys know the difference between launch and Smart Start based on if it's US or Canada. Now, in order to earn customer sharing bonuses and launch bonuses, you need to have 100 points of personal volume yourself. Now, that could be a combination of purchases that you've purchased or customers that you've personally acquired. Okay, now you will see that it does say that you can earn the 25% commissions in the US by having just 50 points of personally purchased volume. I want to keep this super simple for you guys. Just make a note, 100 PV. When I'm teaching individuals, I say, don't make your minimums your maximums. If you want to just make sure you are fully enrolled to get paid on all commissions, just keep it simple. It's 100 PV. Now, as we move on to the next bonus, which is our 10 and 3 bonus, this is the only time that you actually need to have 200 points of personal volume. Okay. But here's what I'm going to share with you on the 10 and 3 bonus. As you're going after your 10 and 3 bonus in your first 30 days, Okay, you have the ability to go out and get 10 customers that get products or services, whatever customer they become a customer on, it doesn't matter, with a minimum, write this down, 10 customers with a minimum of 500 CP. That's the little disclosure there. So let's say you got 10 customers, but you had 400 CP. That means you need to go out and get one more customer or 2 more customers or 3 more, because it has to be a minimum of 500 CP. Does that make sense? Okay, 10 customers, minimum of 500 CP, 3 associates that get started on any one of our enrollment packs. That will trigger a $1,000 bonus if you get that done in your first 30 days. Okay. Now with that stipulation, you also need 200 points of personal volume. But here's what I like to share with individuals. That 200 points of volume doesn't necessarily need to be fully in until the end of that first calendar month for you. So essentially, let's say you've got your 100 PV. As you're acquiring customers, you also get personal volume as well. So what I tell individuals to do is make sure you have your 100 PV, acquire your customers, and if you're just shy of 200 PV for whatever reason, you can always purchase that extra volume to ensure that you get your full 10 and 3 bonus. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, if it's unclear, drop it in the chat and we can answer that question. But just keep in mind, you need 200 PV to ensure that you get that 10 and 3 bonus. Now, the next piece of our comp plan is actually building a distribution. And I'm not even going to talk about like going opal or pearl or ruby or sapphire or any of these other positions. I'm going to just focus on our foundational position of jade. And the reason I'm going to focus on jade is because if you understand our foundational position of jade, getting to any other position in the comp plan is literally teaching more people in your team how to get to that first earned rank of jade. So what I want you to wrap your head around is going jade. That's it. So to get to jade, you need 100 points of personal volume yourself, a total of 1,500 points of group volume. And don't worry, I'm going to break this down so it's super simple, with a minimum of 3 personally sponsored associates. Okay. So 100 PV, 1,500 GV, and 3 minimally sponsored associates. So could you have more than 3? Yes, but minimum you need 3. Now, here is the difference between PV and GV. PV, you earn for any personal customers you enroll and any products that you personally purchase for yourself. So think anything that you personally do, that counts towards your PV. Now, anything that your team does. So let's say that Benny is my first associate that gets started in my team. And let's say Benny purchases a platinum pack. Okay, so Benny is going to have 500 points of personal volume for purchasing a platinum pack herself. But Benny now counts as 500 points of group volume to my team because she's in my group. Does that make sense? That is just the difference between PV and GV. Now, here's the most fun part about our comp plan. Did you know that Trinont allows you to take your personal volume and add it to your smallest line of business to help with rank advancement? Let me explain what that means, okay? Because when you get this, your mind's going to go, and the reason it's going to go is because it now allows for people to actually rank advance faster. So here's how this would work. Let's say that Trent gets started in business with me, okay? And he's my first associate. And let's say Trent starts on a platinum pack. That's 500 points of volume for Trent starting on a platinum pack. Now, let's say that Trent goes ahead and he actually enrolls Benny, and Benny also gets started on a platinum pack. Okay, that's another 500 points. So now I'm at 1,000, but I only have one personally sponsored, right? Because I sponsored Trent and then he sponsored Benny. So now let's say I personally go out and I sponsor Rose into the business. And let's say that Rose gets started on, I don't know, we'll just say one of our bronze packs. And our bronze packs are usually about 100 something points, but for numbers purposes today, let's just say it's an extra 100 points. So now I've got Benny on the team. I've got Trent on the team. That's 1,000 points there. Rose gets started. She's at 100 points. So that's an extra 1,100 total to my group volume. And now let's say I go sign up my third sponsored person, which is Gretchen. And Gretchen, let's also say Gretchen gets started on, we'll just say a bronze pack. Okay, so she's another 100 points of volume to my team. So if we add that up, right? That's 1,000 for Benny and Trent. That's another 100 for Rose. That's another 100 for Gretchen. So we're at 1,200 total points. And I'm still shy, right? By 300 points to get to my 1,500. So here's what can actually happen. If I so choose, by the end of the month, I could actually go out and buy enough volume where I have 300 points of personal volume, and that 300 points of personal volume is now added to my smallest line for rank advancement. You guys getting it? Okay. This is how you can actually rank advance. And so what I love about that is sometimes we have found that people are like 40 points shy of hitting their Jade rank. So what am I going to teach that person to do? You better heck go get your 40 points, because if you don't, you're going to miss out on an amazing paycheck just because you missed out on 40 points of volume. Okay, that is what I mean by allowing that personal volume to go to your smallest line of business. Now, the only thing that I want you guys to keep in mind is on that 1,500 group volume, you cannot have all 1,500 points of group volume coming from one line of business. There is what they call a 65% max leg percentage, which means the maximum amount of volume that will count from your first line of business is 975 points. So here's what I mean by that. In the example of Benny and Trent, right? They had 1,000 points between their 2 platinum packs, right? 975 of that would have actually counted. Okay. Now, the extra 1,000 would essentially count for the next rank advancement, but that's what I mean by having some leg balancing. So if you have questions on that, again, you can get with Benny and she could draw it out for you. It's really simple. The main thing you just have to understand is that you just have to have some leg balancing as you're building out your teams. And there's actually a little cheat sheet that we have. Benny, you probably have seen it. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's in your Trinont Go app. I call it our rank advancement chart. It's under our Legacy Builder System section in our Trinont Go app. And it literally has a full-blown chart of every single position in our compensation plan and what those leg what the leg balancing is. So if you're not a good mathematician, and by the way, I'm not, so you can still build a very successful business and not be good at math. Okay, I am living proof of that. But you can download that chart and that will help you with the leg balancing. Now, of course, at the position of Jade in the US, when you calculate the Jeep bonus plus the Jade rank bonus, that's a total of $600 a month that you can earn with the Jeep stipend. I know when you add the PEG rate in Canada, which is a 1.28% multiplier, that dollar amount in Canadian dollars a bit different. Okay, so again, US it's 600, and I don't know, what does it come out to, Benny, in Canada? Is it like 7 something?
Sorry, I was just looking up the chart. What was
That's
the
okay. The
770.
770. Thank you, Trent. Perfect.
And
There you
just
go.
a side note, Trent is awesome for balancing legs, back office questions. So if you have not reached out to him,
Reach out to me personally. I will get back to you.
Love it. Love it. Love it. See, you guys got an amazing team. Trent, I'm glad that you could do the math.
And one thing I want to add about the leg balancing too is you were talking about your own personal volume. I like to think of it as your own personal volume is like your 4th leg almost.
Yes. Yes. That's a great way to think about it. It is your leg.
Because it actually, I think I read that it does max out as well. You can only take a certain amount from your personal volume.
I don't think so. I don't think it does max out. I'll triple confirm it, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't max out. So whatever, so like, let's say you have to balance it between 2 lines, it'll just naturally count towards weakest and you should be good for rank advancement. Yeah. Okay, so last piece of this today is our Trailblazer Maximizer bonuses. So here's what I say about Trailblazer bonuses. These are for individuals who want to actually build fast in the compensation plan. Okay, not everybody wants to do this, and that's okay. We are here to meet people where they're at, right? But if you have a builder like a Benny, like a Jen Lori, like a Trent, because I know Trent, you've also built pretty darn quickly as well. Okay, when you have a builder, this is a way where an individual can earn in the US, it's up to $3,550 in their first up to 6 months, essentially, where they can earn this additional one-time bonus money. And then I think it comes out to like 4,000 something in Canadian dollar by earning the Trailblazer bonuses. But here's how the Trailblazer bonuses work. They're very simple to understand. You have a certain amount of time to get to the position of Opal. Okay. And when you do that, if you advance to the position in that time frame, which is basically up to the end of your second month, by advancing to that position, you earn a one-time bonus for advancing to it in that time frame. And then if you maintain that position for 2 more months thereafter, or rank advance, you don't just have to maintain it, you can rank advance as well. You will get an additional one-time bonus and an additional one-time bonus for maintaining or again, rank advancing. Okay, so if you write down the key words here, advance, maintain, maintain, advance, maintain, maintain. Okay, if you advance to that position and then maintain it or continue to rank advance, you'll get all those bonuses along the way. Now to get to Pearl, you have up until the end of your 4th month to advance to the position of Pearl, and you'll get a one-time bonus of $400 for advancing to it, maintain it again for 2 more months, and you get an additional 300 and 300 for a total of 600. Again, this is in US dollars, so it would change a little bit for Canadian. And then for Ruby, you have up until your 6th month to get to the Ruby position, and you'll get a bonus of $800 for advancing to that within the time frame. And by maintaining it, you get an additional 500 and an additional 500 for a total of an additional 1,000. So what's great about these Trailblazer bonuses is they can be stacked together. So individuals who come in, and actually, Benny, I know you have done this, and I also know that Jen Laurie has done this. Trent, you have also hit some of these Trailblazers, okay? When they came in, okay, as they built, so let's say somebody comes in and they go Ruby in their first 30 days, guess what? They can collect all of these bonuses because they can be stacked simultaneously. Now, what I'm going to give you is an example in this next example of what a 90-day game plan can look like for somebody. Now, does this mean, by the way, that everybody's going to do this? No, right? But I want to give you an actual example of what is possible through our comp plan, because I think sometimes we get started and we see what's visible through the 10 and 3 bonus. We see what's visible by hitting Jade, but we don't quite actually add up what's possible in your first 90 days if you actually just run right out of the gates. And I like to paint that vision because once you see it, you're like, heck, why would I not want to go after this, right? So here's what this can look like in a 90-day game plan. So instead of going Jade in your first month, let's say your goal is we're helping you go Opal, which is our second earned position in our comp plan. Okay, by doing this, let's say in that first month, you enroll 3 individuals that get started on one of our platinum packs. Okay, you get a $300 launch bonus for doing that. So that's $900 right there in bonus money. Now, again, this is off of the US comp plan. So if you're going after your 10 and 3, remember I said you need 500 customer points to hit your 10 and 3 bonus. Well, at 25% commissions on that 500 CP, that would be $125 of additional bonus money. Now, of course, in Canada, you start at 50%, so it would be double that, $250, plus whatever the Canadian peg rate is. Now, the 10 and 3 bonus for hitting your 10 and 3 in those first 30 days, you get a one-time bonus of $1,000. In Canada, that one-time bonus is $1,280. And then because you're picking up your Opal compensation plan for your Jeep stipend plus your team residual, that's $750 right there. Plus you're picking up the Trailblazer bonus for hitting it in that time frame. That's an extra $350. So again, off the US comp plan, that right there in month 1 is $3,125. So why is this powerful? Do you meet people that actually would like to replace their income pretty darn quickly? Yeah, there are some people that want to do that. And here's exactly how they can do it within their first calendar month. Now, second month, the goal is let's get you to Pearl so we can actually go and get that Pearl Trailblazer bonus. And again, we're going to say you duplicated the same effort you did in month 1. You got 3 platinum pack enrollments. Now you're at 50% customer sharing bonuses. So you get that $250 plus you hit your 10 and 3. That's an extra $1,000. Now you hit the Pearl position. So your Jeep plus team residual goes up to $1,000. You now are picking up your Pearl Trailblazer bonus for month 1. You're picking up your second Trailblazer bonus for the Opal position. That's a total of $3,750 right there. Again, that's off the US comp plan. It ends up being more if you actually look at the Canadian comp plan. Now, month 3, your 90-day run. Now we get you to Ruby. Okay, and at Ruby, you again duplicate the efforts all over again. 3 platinum pack enrollments, you get your 10 and 3 a second time. You hit your 50% customer sharing bonuses off that 500 CP. Now you've hit your Ruby position, which the Jeep plus team residual pays out a $2,000 a month. Now you're hitting your Ruby Trailblazer bonus, the first one. you're hitting your second Pearl Trailblazer bonus, and you're hitting your third Opal Trailblazer bonus. Add all that up and you can see off the US comp plan that comes out to a total of $5,450. And again, if you change that to the Canadian amount, it ends up being more than that. So here's just an example of what that can look like in somebody's 90 days. And actually, Benny, I would love for you to quickly share what you were able to create, because I know you hit a lot of these bonuses right out of the gates. And I just want you to share what that looked like and what was possible for you guys by just actually building fast in your business when you first got started.
Sure. So I know I saw some people's goals. So one of the things that happened for me was I had racked up some debt in the last year. So I was able to pay off $10,000 of that debt.
Boom.
And then Trent and I are building a future. So we have a savings now. We have a little nest egg started for our future, which neither of us had before. And then the other thing for us is, I mean, we've been to Mexico. We're going to Utah. We're able to put the boys in private swim lessons, Mavs in tutoring, bike camps, like the things that last year, this time, just not possible.
That's amazing. And look how quick that happened. So I wanted Benny to share that with you guys, not to impress you on what she's done, but to impress upon you, like, look at how powerful that is and how quickly something can change when you put a little bit of hard work and effort into a business. Now, I believe personally that Trinant is hands down the best business opportunity on the planet. I have never seen a compensation plan in this industry that is this lucrative and can be this lucrative for anybody getting started. But I always put the disclaimer, and anybody that meets me knows that I'm a super transparent person. And the disclaimer is that this doesn't come without work, right? You got to talk to people. You know, at the end of the day, when I go through this information and I share it with individuals, the only thing that stands between you and hitting your goals in any compensation plan is putting the effort and energy in order to make it happen. And this is where I say, after today's training, now that you understand the logistics or like the compensation plan and whatnot, your process of what you're going to do and inviting people to an event really comes down to what your goals are. So again, if you're an individual that just wants to get your products and services paid for, you might not be somebody who wants to go after those Trailblazer bonuses. But if you're an individual that looks at this and says, like, I truly want to create time freedom, I want to be home with my family more, then your goals are probably going to be, hey, let's go after those Trailblazer bonuses so you can do that pretty darn quickly. So wherever you're at, again, for today's homework, really get really clear on what your goals are. And I'm going to encourage you to get back with the leader that you're working with, whether that's Mr. Trent, whether that's Mrs. Benny, whether that's Miss Jen Laurie, or whoever it is that is your leader. I want you to get back, send them a text today or send them a message and say, hey, these are my goals. I want to get on a quick welcome call with you and actually map out what that looks like so it's crystal clear for me. And I promise you guys, we have the best leadership in all of Trinant. Like, Benny and Trent care so much about where you guys are going in your business. I mean, I see them behind the scenes working tirelessly, even talking to, whether it's me, whether they're talking to Mrs. Jennifer Dowd, whether they're talking to Mrs. Mindy Diebel, any one of our big Diamond Council members, because what they are really committed to is not only the goals that they have, but really helping each and every one of you reach your goals. So I'm super grateful, Benny, that you asked me to come on today and just kind of share my wisdom. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you to kind of close this out and add anything else that you want to share today.
Awesome. I want to thank Veronica for jumping on. I absolutely love your onboarding and your training. You make it so simple and so clear. And remember, we only absorb a certain amount, so feel free to come back, especially to the numbers. And I will just tell you that Trent had to tell me 1,000,000 times the numbers because I still didn't get it after months. So we have, when she says we have people who have their specialties, we have lots of different things. So it's taken me a bit to catch on to all the different things, and I'm still learning and soaking it all up. I'm going to just stop our recording here. And then I know we had one question. So thanks for tuning in. And if you're watching the replay, put #replay so I know that you're watching and I'll reach out.